YouTube. Hi, welcome on in. Hey, we're going to get started. We have a new episode of Spice and Wolf. Yes, it is my birthday. We have a lot of incredible things to get into. Guys, if you're watching this, we tend to go ahead and dive in deep, analyze as much as we can for Spice and Wolf. And through that, I guess one of my big philosophies and one of my big impacts of like going in deep into any anime, any video game, anything that we play is looking at the way that it reflects life back to us, right? And I know I have my fucking whiteboard here. I know we've done 1,001 analysis, but there's something special about this show. And I think the specialty about this show is its connection, is its, my P word, is its propinquity. The awesomeness of this show is the fact that this show tends to go ahead and center itself and ground itself in the layers of propinquity that pushes it forward past the level that, like, honestly, I've never seen a show hit so emotionally well so quickly. That propinquity, though, I know. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, let's fucking go. Let's go. Damn, Nico. So let's talk about a moment like this, right? And let's talk about the 5 Fs. In case you guys are wondering, in psychology, just in general, this is what I teach a lot of my therapists and a lot of my case managers. We have the 5 Fs in life. Anything you do, will trigger one of the 5 Fs. We have fight, we have flight, we have freeze, we have fawn. The 5 Fs. That's the 5 Fs. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or fuck. Hate to be straight up about it, but at the end of the day, these are our primal urges. If you were to break them down into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, and break it down, these are base needs. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn is to try and appease to whoever's in there, right? Try and appease the individual that's like, close to you. And of course, fuck. If you can fuck a way out of the situation, some people would do it, right? So 5 potential urges in that, right? Liberty. So people fawn by appeasing others. People can freeze up in a situation. People can fight. People can flight, and people can. We need more cowbell. That's a base need. That's a fucking lootly. Told me to ask about a German and English anime opening comparison. Holy shit, that would be interesting. Wait, for Spice and Wolf? But this comes in a major element, right? And Raka, I think you're hitting on the point that I was also wanted to touch on it at some point, which is we have an element of interest with this, which is what scares a god. And I do mean this, chat. Looking at these elements, it comes into like, we have a wolf god. Damn, I'm sorry. Wait, for what? I've never thought about it like that before. What scares a god? What can terrify a god? Someone that's lived for hundreds of thousands of years. What would terrify you to your core? JRPGs. Because the main element, like to go ahead and transit through this and populate through this, is we have the aspect of loneliness, which is often a killer. Imagine this, being cursed to be alone. Imagine always being cursed to be alone. Imagine being forgotten. Imagine not leaving meme, genes, or scenes behind. That is like Phoebe, you're in here? Holy shit. Hi, Phoebe. Yes, I haven't seen Noragami, but yeah, like when we're talking about the aspects of loneliness and we're talking about the aspects as to like, what would you fear for in that environment? You are a god as of this moment in time. What would you fear? This is a very base need. This is a very base fucking fear. And I know a lot of people tend to go ahead and curtail around it, unfortunately. He is a god and he wants people to know him. Oh, my heart. But in comes in this aspect. Are you guys ready for it? How would the people around you view you? You are a god that can live forever. How would you rank even yourself in that environment, right? Where would you go ahead and put her? Like, what are her good and her shadow archetypes? In the same way that we all have them, right? Which are the aspects that we try and present to the world outside and the aspects that we present to ourselves as well. What would you guys present in that way, right? So, for example, something that comes to mind immediately is anybody on the outside, right? Looking in, is this chart? Yeah, this is a Jungian chart based on our shadow and our good selves, right? Light selves, archetypal lens. But in psychology and specifically in therapy, this is how we use it. How do others view you versus how do you view yourself? What do you try and go ahead and push for yourself versus what do other people try and present for you in that regard? My psych is rusty. No, you're doing great, Raka. You're doing great. So this is the element that I'm trying to go ahead and show up. Most people would probably view someone like this. If she is a sage, if she is even a creator, right? Most people would probably view this as someone that is probably a villain, that is probably a seducer, that is probably a tyrant, that is probably there to go ahead and upend the system. Why? Religion. We've already seen in the first couple of episodes, religion plays a big role into the current society and state here. When Hollow was first introduced, like, the whole element and conversations that she's had hasn't really referenced anything in regards to this, but this is already playing a major fucking factor in that aspect, right? This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is she missing, chat? People are saying that she's in the security aspect, that she's in here. Okay. Is she able to go ahead and breathe? Food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, excrete. She's able to be all of that, then she has checkmarked this. Is she have resources, health? She has health. Is she secure of the body? Yes, we've seen that. Property, well, she doesn't really own anything, so she can't really meet that. So for the most part, I would say probably like a 9 out of 10, right? For her to go ahead and give that. Esteem. Oh, there's love and esteem. I knew I fucking missed. Friendship, family, sexual intimacy, and respect by others. I would say this is where she's at. I would legitimately say in the aspects of love and belonging is one of the core issues as to where they're at. Here's the interesting thing. You go to a good therapist, and I don't just mean like your everyday therapist, but a good therapist. And while you're talking inside of the head, they're marking this stuff off. They're thinking, okay, do you have any problems with your relationships? Mental meetings that you have, normal meetings with alcohol. Oh, as Neron. Yeah, anytime, brother. As you're talking with someone, they should be marking this off in their head. Like, so you're saying that you have issues with your friends, with family, with sexual intimacy. You're telling me that, you're being really involved with certain substances and that you're having issues sleeping, whatnot. And it's like, okay, well then love and belonging is a major need that needs to be addressed for you. When we're talking about Hollow, does she have friendships? Does she have family? This is all stuff that she's working towards, right? Which is curious as to why she is ridden away with vulnerability and then that's defects. But here's the thing, right? Is we all have a mask. And I love this fucking discussion on it because we all wear masks, right? I'm wearing the streamer mask right now, the same way that Phoebe wears her streamer mask, right? Even though we're studying, even though we're talking or doing whatever, we all have different masks. You have the mask of when you're with your best friends, when you're with your partner, when you're at school. We all wear a bunch of different masks. However, when you take all of that down, if I were to ask you, what is base you? What makes you you? What would that list entail? And I don't just mean student you. I don't mean teacher you. I don't mean learner you. I don't mean, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever that may be. What fundamentally, if you were to take away a majority of these labels and come down to the aspects or the core that is you, that's not been heavily influenced by it to like or dislike certain things, what would that be? As she said, she's tired of being alone. 100%. And that's the main element that when we're watching these shows, when we're watching these games, I'm processing, right? Fundamentally, cutting everything away, what is left behind? So, for example, a question that I'd have, and I love throwing this question out there, and especially as we're thinking about this show, would you rather, as an individual, boom, Wizard Ed appears in front of you, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you 2 choices. You get to pick. Number 1, everyone else around you, you completely forget all of your memories, but everyone else around you gets to keep theirs of you. Number 2, you get to keep your memory, but everyone else forgets their memories of you and your experiences and whatnot. What would you pick and why? Team mentality seems to be a great perpendicular way of a working system for happiness. hmm And then just start crazy. Thanks so much for being here, man. Appreciate it. You would want to keep the memories for yourself, but why? And that's the main element. Like, even when it comes to aspects of gods, right? And long term living and whatnot, this is something worth considering, right? We talk about loneliness, we talk about isolation. At some point in time, you're going to be at either end of the spectrum. Either everyone completely forgets about you and you got to keep moving on, or, right, everyone remembers you, but you don't even remember yourself. You don't know what you're fully dressed with that one. Oh, dude, I really want to do Has Been Hotel without remembering a lot of things. I'll be fine committing to that. Sure, sure. I could be a better friend. But what is a better friend in that regard, Asnaron? Because what if people already like some of the aspects that you've showcased or that you've gone through, right? And a different version of you wouldn't necessarily be you, right? If you kept your memories, if you keep your memories and they forget theirs, people still treat you the same? Would you still be friends with some of these individuals? Or would they cut ties and keep moving forward if you tried to make friends? It's interesting little aspects of thought, right? There's something very powerful about this opening that I really love. And I know we've done a full breakdown of the opening, but it's this shot right here. This shot right here just screams everything to me, right? At some point in time, just as much as life can be peaceful, things can switch. In society, right, your actions, whatnot, whatever you deem is okay or right or whatnot, you might be leading your truth, leading your choices, what you think is right, and so on and so forth, but you might be villainized by the end of it. I had for example, I met someone, I'll put it this way, who was a director of another company, right? And I hate to put it this way because I call people out. Oh, Rincewind, thanks so much for gifting us up. My bad, I didn't read that right. Who was the director of another company, and they were doing all of the they were just headstronging all their decisions. When I met them, I started calling them out on that. I'm like, why are you doing this, right? And for him, his company loved him. He was bringing in a lot of money towards his company because of all the decisions he was doing. And I'm like, ethically, there's some stuff I'm concerned about. Let me break this down for you. Let's have a conversation. Blah 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 blah. In the moment that more ears started to perk up and realize all of a sudden all the decisions he had made were in a rushed manner that wasn't necessarily the greatest. Company loved him. Company started hating him. Not my company, but his own company, because all of a sudden there's risk and there's significant risk. And even though they were like, "Oh my God, we're going to give you your own blah 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 blah," at the end of it was like, "Oh my God, how can we even trust to be in this position of power when there's so many ethical boundaries and lines that were crossed, right?" And according to him, he was just following the instructions of the CEO, COO, or whatever was there. So the main element that comes through with this is even in everyday life, I hate to put it this way, but using a more down to scale environment phenomena, how many of you guys have ever been branded a villain by people, friends, or people that you know? I have. Straight up. I'm not even going to lie about it. And not even for doing anything bad, but for the rumorville of for example, I had a breakup. They started spreading their rumors, even though that they were the ones that cheated on me and whatnot a long time ago. They spread all the rumors, and all of a sudden people thought that I was a villain. That, oh, how could you not do this or this or this or that? And this is why this happened and whatnot. And it's wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense logically when you break it down. People love to put a villain to their story. And even though some days you might be great and you might be hosting parties and having hundreds of people all over, the moment that someone can go ahead and jump on the other side as well and you're not prepared for it, you might be swept under the rug, right? I had a rumor about me being a cheater spread. And that sucks, man. I'm not even, at least for me, it sucked. I don't know about for you, Asnaron, but for me, it sucked because it's come on, you guys should know me better than this, right? In environments like that. Mm. Right. Here's the thing with negotiation and negotiation tactics in general. Oh, Asneron, brother, that's what we do on Sundays. We do Moshiko Tensei analysis. We go fucking deep, brother. Like Moshiko Tensei, we have a whole section for Moshiko Tensei. We fucking love it, man. But this is a big aspect of stuff that I do want to go ahead and bring up. Right? Is how do you negotiate? What negotiation tactics do you use? And even then, do you run the fear of being excommunicado? Like that is a big thing through that, right? Whenever a religious organization is in there, right, is involved in massive society to the point where they control, say, even economical factors like this, or they can place pressure in that environment, could they step in and make, say, Lawrence everything completely unsellable? Can they make Lawrence as an individual not be able, like others to not be able to go ahead and market themselves to them or have communication with Lawrence because of the power that religion holds? Negotiation and the way that you present yourself to others is fucking key, and oftentimes goes underrated from that, which is why I'm scared about Lawrence, because even though he's logical, he might rush certain situations and he might rush certain things in there. But yes, Asmeron, we'd go fucking deep with Moshiko Tensei. Oh, not enough grenades. Yep. Mm. Take the first step. Because at the end of the day, he's protecting his company, and by being able to go in and report it first, they take at least the aspect of prejudice against him away from that. It's a powerful move, and even the way that he's asking that and he's gauging Lawrence's reaction, incredible. Um, Here's the interesting part that I've seen happen a lot recently, which is some top negotiations that I've been in. Oh, Alexandria, yo, welcome on in. There's been, say, like a CEO, right, trying to go to negotiate. And at the side of the CEO is usually the director, right? Like a director of either like human services, psychology, behavioral health, whatever that may be. And it's always interesting because what you get to see is like trying to go ahead and understand the micro expressions that we share. The micro, like sometimes we don't even notice. But for example, right now, I hate to do this to you guys. Are you breathing manually or automatically? Like, are you breathing fully? Are you filling every inch of your chest with air? Or is it just automatic thought process for you as of this point in time? Even if you're lurking, even if you're like listening in, I want you guys to just think about this for a moment, right? Before I stated that, how are you breathing? And even currently, right now, how are you breathing? Are you breathing something that completely fulfills you and feels great for every breath that you take in? Or are you just like, nope, 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 I gotta get through this, like, rushing through everything? I bet you something, at least you blinked, you did something at the thought of it, right? Auto breathing right now, not gonna lie. Sure. But I want you to go ahead and like try and manually breathing in case you're auto breathing. Try to manually breathe and see what that does here. Try to manually breathe. Fill in your chest, not your diaphragm for this, right? And breathe. I'm holding my breath because I'm a brat. Oh, Raka. But even past that, let's go into another one, right? Your mouth, right? And I hate to put it this way. Is it dry? Is it wet? How is it at the moment? Your feet, are they centered? Why are you moving your hands? Why are you every single finger? I want you to process every single little thing that you're doing in that situation, right? Whether it's blinking, whether it's like whatnot. Are you manually thinking of what you're doing, or is it all automatically based? For the most part, we've automatized a majority of that because it takes up too much of our time, too much thought process, too much ability to that we have to worry about 1,000 other things that we don't necessarily pay attention to that. Run, thanks so much for the sub. Appreciate it. Didn't expect to wake up and see you still streaming. Time to not being VOD boy for once. Well, welcome on in. We had a lot of interesting discussions earlier, Run, for 4 to 5 hours. Because I can't. Sure. Anyway.
Hmm? あの銀貨の取引の最大の利益はトレニー国の国王から特権を引き出せることですよね。
ええ、我々の調べでは王家の財政はかなり逼迫しているようです。
そうでしょうね。何しろ出回っている銀貨をいつぶしてまで銀の純度を下げて枚数を増やそうというのですからね。当座の資金は生み出せますが、長期的には国の威信が下がり不利益の方が大きい。それでも含有量の切り下げを行うくらいに王家は金に困っているのでしょう。
Yeah.
王家はいつぶすための銀貨と引き換えに鉱山の採掘権や関税設定権、市場管理権など特権を我々に引き渡す可能性が高い。それこそが今回の銀貨買い付けで得られる最大の利益です。
では、メディオ商会が我々を告発する前にこちらが取引を終わらせて、その最大の利益を交渉の手札にするというのはどうでしょう。
特権を買い取らせると。
ええ、それらの特権とあなた方を潰すことを天秤にかければ、メディオ商会も告発を諦めるのではないでしょうか。
しかし、相手は不倶戴天の我々を確実に家計代に送れる手札を握っています。取引に応じるかどうか。
いや、トレニー国の国王の立場になってみてください。
え？
国王は家計代に送られるような商会との取引を公にはできないでしょ
う。なるほど。我々が教会に目をつけられたら、我々と取引した王も教会を敵に回すことになりますね。
我々が先に契約を交わせば、メディオ商会は王に恨みを買うような告発はできません。彼らにできるのは。
So then in comes in the question if this is a ploy or not in of itself, right? Say that Hollow was taken for whatever regard, or that Hollow was following a plan set forward. Could this not just be a double jeopardy situation or a double bluff, right? Where in an instance, yes, you did bring up the whole aspect of the king, but at the same time, what if Hollow was not in any reasonable danger, but was just in a perceived aspect of danger, where all of a sudden individuals think that they have a higher stance of reasoning or making a deal, but not knowingly that they've already taken the bait, right? He comes off like a pretty reasonable person IRL. Lawrence is one of those individuals that, I feel logically he can make the right decisions, but I do wonder emotionally, if you have Hollow and you have Lawrence, Hollow feels like the type of individual that would be able to go ahead and convince you with their charm, with their riz, right? The same way I feel like a lot of streamers can. So a streamer that might be lurking somewhere around there that has that charisma that's able to go ahead and just go in there and win with certain people, right? Other people are very logical and they can go ahead and understand, for example, oh, I have one more michelada left, and it's a really high-class michelada, It's it has all the right ingredients, but it's the last one that I'll be able to go ahead and make in that environment, and every ingredient is top tier and so on and so forth, and label it in a way where logically you already know that this is going to be a high-class, high-value situation, right? As opposed to just being able to go ahead and use Riz. ¿Clamato o qué? Ya sabes, compa, aquí tengo el clamato. Deja agarrarlo, güey. Si quieren, voy a agarrar un clamato ahorita. Pues nos ponemos bien. Agarro un poquito de tajín. Lo pongo en el lado. Va a estar bien chingón. Va a estar bien chingón. It'll be great. But that's the main element I'm trying to go ahead and say is there's two different negotiation styles.
そこで我が商会が特権を引き渡す代わりに相応の対価とお連れの方の身柄を要求すれば。
ええ、きっと乗ってくるはずです。メディオ商会が特権を手に入れるにはそれしかありません。
方法論としてはいいでしょう。しかしそれには大きな困難がつきまとう。
私の推測する限り、メディオ商会はまだ銀貨を集めきってはいません。
その根拠は？
これは王の弱みにつけ込む取引です。だからこそ私たちのような商人を介して秘密裏により安く銀貨を手に入れようと画策していた。もし十分な銀貨を手にしていれば、ホロを捕らえた時点で教会に行けばよいのです。それをせずにこちらの動きを封じようとしたのは向こうの自信のなさの表れです。つまり現時点で銀貨は集まっていないのです。
なるほど。ではロレンスさんはどのように動くおつもりですか？
ホロを奪い取り、こちらが交渉を得るまで逃げ続けます。
So with this though comes out that I guess the other element of like gotta love turning the tables on a hostage situation. Abso-fucking-lutely. How far would you go for a loved one? Guys? How far are you willing to go for a loved one? Yes. You've ever seen John Wick? It'd be John Papied, you know, going in there with this fucking wolf dog. But no, like legitimately, because everyone has different limits that they're okay with and not okay with, right? And everyone has a different regard as to who's an individual that you'd be willing to go the extra mile for. Like my parents, willing to go the extra mile for them in that regard. One of my brothers, another one of my brothers, probably, right, would take an arrow for the knee. Depends on how loved. For your son, everything? Yeah, beyond everything. And that's the key thing. Is like, are you willing, like, ethically, are you willing to cross some barriers or boundaries that you're like, you know, when you're in a sane state or of body that you're not able to go ahead and like think about or contribute to, right? Depends on how loved.
無茶な。
逃げきれないまでも多少の時間は稼げます。その間に銀貨を集めまくって交渉に臨んでください。
不可能だ。
ならばホロを告発しますか。私はあなた方が不利になる証言をしますよ。ご協力いただければ1日2日は逃げられるでしょう。一緒に逃げる相手は狼の化身です。今回のことは私を逃がすためにわざと捕まったのです。本来の能力を使えば人間など足元にも及びません。お尋ねします。どのくらい時間があれば王と交渉できるくらいの銀貨が集まりそうですか？
Love him. Love him, dude.
今すぐトレニー城に馬を走らせれば明日の日没前に着きます。交渉を即決で行ったとして帰ってくるのは明後日の夜明け頃です。
今すぐ。
However, there also comes a fatal flaw with this. As much as he's pushing forward, as much as he's doing everything that's like, you know, collected and his thought processes are, what would you do in an environment like this where you just heard someone immediately state that they would be willing to testify against you if they have to go ahead and do certain reports or do certain things? Would you be comfortable going through with another trade in the future, or would you find a way to protect yourselves going forward against this individual or against even situations that might alarm yourself like this? Tit for tat, not overtly, and then the threat is taken personally. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is the negotiation element in this is beautifully done. It is beautifully fucking done. And a lot of times people think anime should just be like, Kamehameha! You know, like over the top, fucking like, let me do my breathing style, you know, like, like over the top, stereotypical anime shit, but not necessarily, right? I hate to put it this way, but if we're going to ground ourselves in realism, a majority of what is like deemed realistic is done through talking. A majority of it is literally like our everyday fights is talking, either text, you know, conversations back and forth like this, or whatever it may be. They don't get to provoke emotion. Yep. Hollow's remarks and the signal over the guy from the park. Yep.
まだ手元に集まる銀貨の量も分かっていないのに。
交渉は川山用で行います。実際の銀貨は決算日までに用意できれば問題ありません。
国王相手に即決の交渉ができますか？
ミローネ商会がその気になればどのような商談も即決以外にありえません。
それでホロの居場所はつかめているんですよね。
我々はミローネ商会です。商会の者が闇討ちされたり店に火をつけられたりといったことは日常茶飯事なのですよ。ですから非常用の対策は万全です。
And that's actually a beautiful way to put it. How is a war won? That is such a beautiful way of just showcasing this. What is the most important thing in war? Information? Yes. Information is important. Information and logistics. 100%. Information and logistics. Being able to go ahead and have the proper logistics in place and being able to go out and move things from one end to another without words and intelligence, right? The intelligence aspect of like gathering intelligence, knowing what to go ahead and do, how to move things appropriately in that regard. It literally takes a 5-head move to move accordingly, right? And the fact that a lot of like if you control information, you control actions. Those individuals that control data control actions. That's why that's powerful. What a beautiful, like, I'm blown away by this show and the way that it captures such big elements that I feel most people would just be like, oh, like emoji reactors, emote reactors, talking back and forth, you know, but it's like, no, there's so much fucking subtlety back and forth that is happening that is more of like a fight, like a full-on fist fight, with different layers of data and information that each are presenting.
ただ唯一大きな壁が存在しています。
教会ですか？
そうです。彼らは我々以上に様々な国や町に行き、いざという時に備えています。ですから彼らが乗り出す前に決着をつける必要があります。本当ならメディオ商会の背後にいる人間を把握してから商談に臨みたかった。それが分かれば資金繰りの経路も見えて、そこを横取りもできますし、概算もできる。
その点は残念です。
ご無事と成功を祈っています。
必ず期待にお答えします。
Bruh.
確認の合言葉、ピレオンのまいです。
二大金貨ですか？
縁起がいいでし
ょ。Our password is Rat Patrol 101. Our password is Rat Patrol. You guys got it? Rat Patrol. All right, there we go. No, discarded.
道順は把握されましたか？
地下に入ったら右側の壁に手をついたまま前進ですね。
はい。そして突き当たりでお待ちください。
その頭上の建物にホロが捕まっているんですね。
はい、確認してあります。市場開放の鐘の音とともに奪回を行います。成功すれば突き当たりの上から蓋が開いてお連れの方が降りてきます。そこでラッヘと言われたら友の者が来るのを待ってください。ペローソと言われたらお二人で予定の通路を逃げてください。
好景気と不景気ですか？
わかりやすいでしょ。そろそろですね。
Oh shit, boys.
Kiyotsukero! すみません。ロレンさん、今のうちです。
You gotta do what you gotta do, boy. Even if that's like the fucking sewers, brother. You gotta go in deep. You gotta go in deeper than deep. Would Rudius risk his life for Eris in this way? Fuck yeah. Would anyone risk their life for a loved one and go into what is like some underground things? See you in the sewers. Guys, what's in the sewers? What's in the sewers? There's something in the sewers that I'm afraid of that I don't like.
Rack!
Poo-poo in the sewers, wow.
こんな準備までしてるとはな。墓を掘ると言っては教会が諜報活動や脱税のために地下道を掘ってるという噂は聞くが。
Makes sense.
ここのはずだが。
It's been 10 seconds without hollow. 0 out of 10.
頼むぞ。荒ごとにはならないでくれよ。何を震えているんだ俺は。
Oh. Yeah. Excellent point for me to ask. How many of you guys suffer from anxiety? Either a generalized form of anxiety or anxiety in general. Right. How do you guys deal with it in public settings, right? Whether it's a big event that's happening or something like that. Because a lot of individuals, when the first, like, for example, if you've never had a panic attack or you never had a big anxious moment, a lot of individuals, I've had an individual who had their first anxiety moment, first panic attack in like 40, 50 years of them being alive. And they thought they were having a heart attack. And they started literally like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, they didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't have the coping skills for it, right? They've never had like little bits of anxiety until that facade broke down, and boom, the panic attack started, and they freaked out.
遅すぎる。まさか場所を間違えたのか。
ラッヘ。ラッヘ。
ヌマイ。
ピレオン。
Hello.
これを持ち去って押し込み強盗を思わせるわけじゃない。
早く。
主がドカンとワッチが降りられん。
Oh.
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 何
The wife angry. Oh no, you got triple buff, my friend. You got. Oh, I tend to disassociate during panic attacks. Yeah, some individuals do. But even in this, if you have angry hollow, man, that's already fucking game.
これ
That's
主の分。ちゃっちゃと持って奥へ。
angry wife, unhappy life. Yeah.
Pileon.
ヌマイ。
Well, because more than likely, let's be honest about it, right? And this is something huge that I think most often gets underrated from this. how much information do you think someone is privy to in an environment where they've already been put in this, they've been coached and whatnot? Do you think that would you have full trust and belief that this was not just a setup, that this was not just already pre-planned and you weren't part of the planning, right? What's your favorite anime OP from your childhood? Oof. I fucking love Dragon Ball Z, man. They would play it all the time in Canal de las Estrellas. Inshallah.
うまくいっているようで。商売には驚きがつきものですね。
ああ。
もう一人いますが。
彼は別の場所から地上に出ます。メディオの情報を仲間に伝えてから町を離れます。
周到ですね。
それではご分を。
いいぞ。Yeah. So the question is, did they just get played? What's up, Passy Sucker? Hope you're doing well. The question is, this whole thing went way too smoothly in an environment where they're finally alone at last. It's probably going to be a big conversation coming, but also everything was pushed in such a way where, yes, it felt like people had the upper hand almost swimmingly. Almost swimmingly.
無事で何よりだ。
無事で何よりじゃと。
ああ。
わっちの名を言ってみよ。
ホロだろ。
敬老ホロじゃ。これまで生きてきた中でわっちに恥をかかせた者の名をわっちは全て言うことができる。そこに新しい名を加えんといかん。つまり主じゃ。わっちは主に言ったよな。主が迎えに来てくりゃれと。わっちはわっちはてっきり主が来たものだとばかり思って、思い出すだけでも忌々ましい。
お前まさか。
主も嘘なら牙を研いで戦いに赴くのが当たり前じゃろう。あんな穴ぼこの中で隠れていよって。そのせいでわっちは色の恥を。
でも無事だったんだろ。
My fucking heart, bro, because it's true, right? Like they each, and we were talking about this, they each have different approaches to like solving an issue, right? One more emotional based, the other one's more heart based. One very like, you know, for natural based, right? Like you're supposed to go in and attack and do certain things. Craft a little bit more logical in his approach and, you know, more calculated in what they're trying to go ahead and do. Beautiful to see this, but interesting to see how the great wise wolf is still not fully acclimated to society in general.
無事でよかった。
He's a businessman, not a fighter.
主がその麦を持ってる限り、わっちは死にはせんがな。わっちは可愛いからの、人のオスの力じゃ。ただの、わっちの相手が務まるようなオスは人にはおらなんだ。
Sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
に触れれば何がもげるぞと言ったら、皆真っ青になって怯えての。
お前な。まったく。
じゃが例外がおった。
お？
わっちを捕まえた者の中にな、誰がおったと思う？
誰がいたんだ？
ヤレイじゃ。知っとるじゃろ。
ヤレイ？
パスロエ村の名。わっちの名はあのゼーレンから聞いたようじゃ。
それで話したのか？
わずかばかりな。
What the fuck?
ヤレイはわっちに何と言ったと思う？
ゼーレンとかいうやつがホロって名前を口にしてな。その時すぐに頭に浮かんだんだ。村の豊作の神のことが本当だったんだな。
わっちはな。情けないがそれが嬉しかった。
When people believe in you, though, when people like, there's still a little bit of hope and a little bit of goodness and out there, bruh. It's shows like this that make me happy that there's really good fucking anime still out, like, you know, still being developed.
じゃが続けたやつはこう言ったんじゃ。
俺たちがあんたのご機嫌伺いをする時代は終わったんだ。あんたの気まぐれにビクビクする必要はもうない。あんたを教会に突き出して俺たちは古い時代から決別するんだ。
Oh, fuck that.
わっちは悔しくて悲しくて。
Well, yeah, because emotionally, you would swing from someone actually caring about you to all of a sudden someone like having disdain towards you, and that aspect of self just being absolutely destroyed. Again, love and belonging. Where do you belong? Do you belong here? Do you belong in South Korea? Do you belong in Mexico? Where do you belong? And if I were to ask you this, and this is a genuine question to anyone that's listening, where do you belong? Where do you feel you belong? Do you even know who you are? Or are you trying to find yourself? Are you doing a study abroad program or studying somewhere else because you feel like the need to find yourself is somewhere out there, trying to go ahead and find meaning in life is through your friends, through these experiences. And even then comes in the aspect of, could you find those experiences in another place? Oof. Man, deep fucking topics this shit brings up.
ものは考えようだ。北に帰るにはどのみち土地を去らなきゃならなかった。後ろ髪を引いてくれないなら後ろ足で砂をかけてやればいい。そっちの方が思い切りもいいからな。ただし、ただじゃ出ていかない。俺たちは商人だ。儲かれば何でもいい。笑うのは金が入ってから、泣くのは破産してからだ。そして俺たちは笑うんだ。
Why does that feel like a fucking red flag? We don't cry until we're bankrupt. Lawrence, I hope you don't fucking go bankrupt. But adorable.
すっとした。ここ数百年まともに会話しとらんのじゃ。喜怒哀楽にもろくなっとる。これで主の前で二度泣いたがな。主の前で泣くとも泣いたじゃろう。何が言いたいかわかるかや。
勘違いするなと。俺も稼ぎのために相手してやってるんだからな。ミローネ商会が話をまとめるまで逃げることが俺たちの仕事だ。その最中にメソメソされると足手まといだ。だから俺の前で泣いているのがお前じゃなくても俺はきっと。
Oh, that affects you? That affects
ずるく
you?
ないか。
メスの特権じゃろ。
到着しましたよ。そちらも一段落つきましたかな。
This is adorable. This is fucking adorable. And I love their interaction and their like chemistry between like both characters, right? And the way that they're written is so beautifully done. Like it's outstanding. Literally fucking outstanding the way that we're able to go ahead and develop such a close and intimate like connection with these characters because of their back and forthness, because of their quick-wittedness, because you see how they are and who they are just out of the like little lines of dialogues. Gave him the puppy eyes,
ま
yeah.
だです。メディオ商会の後ろについているのはエーレンドット伯爵です。伯爵領で麦の取引をしている商人が銀貨の大口回収先です。
Right.
マールハイト氏に伝えてください。
お安いご用で。やはり儲け話を持ってくる人たちというのはちょっと違いますな。
この耳のことかや。
また行商人に戻ろうかと思いましたよ。あなた方を見ててね。
やめた方がいい。こいつみたいなのを拾う羽目になる。
Oh.
今さの魚社内は一人じゃ広いです。願ったり叶ったりですよ。
The fucking ears, bro.
わっちも主に拾われて飛んだ羽目じゃ。
やっぱりお前ずるいぞ。
そんなワッチも可愛いじゃろ。
Yes.
まあ
Yes.
可愛いとは思うがな。
Yes.
嬉しい。主も本当に可愛い男の子じゃな。
Why? See, kids, and this is how babies are made. You know, well, once you get into a relationship where you can roast one another and you have that fucking riz back and forth and understand one another and the power dynamics that are there, and you know how to go ahead and like have decent communication. That's what a good relationship can strive for. And any good therapist, any good psychologist worth their money will always talk about putting communication forward, right? That should be one of the first priorities that people talk about. Oh. Oh shit. I guess in comes in the next question is, could you take down a friend? If they were if they're on the verge of someone that you care about or hurting someone that you care about.
次回
And the unreasonable God. That is funny. Holy shit. Guys, what can I say other than what an amazing fucking show. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. When I say week by week by week, I'm so fucking excited for Spice and Wolf. For just anything and everything like that. Like, it thrills me. It fucking thrills me, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, I have to say I'm be over the moon for this fucking show. Over the moon for what may come. And guys, if you want to come and join us every Friday we will be doing this. Spice and Wolf and Oregairu, which by the way, we might be doing Oregairu on Monday. But guys, I love you. I appreciate y'all. Hope you guys are well with that. Practice some self-care and come and join us this Friday.